Hey, hello, Nicola.
Hi, Lucas.
How are you? Yeah, so let's start with the very first tea talk, Rethink Festival tea talk. And actually, maybe we have just to introduce ourselves a little bit, who we are, and maybe I start if that's okay for you, Nicola.
Sure.
So yeah, my name is Lucas. I'm the founder and festival steward of the new festival, Rethink Festival. I said now many times festival. And well, it's not my main job, obviously. It's the first edition. So in my main job, I run the company called NetNode. It's a digital agency here in Lucerne, Switzerland. And yeah, that's me. And now, Nicola, it's your turn.
Yeah, hi, Lucas. Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching us. My name is Nicola. I live in Bern, in Switzerland, as Lucas does. But I was born in former Yugoslavia. I was living in that region since many years, and I just found out actually that this weekend was 4 years since I came here. So I think that my life completely changed, and I'm looking forward to say something more about myself in upcoming tea talks.
Yeah, for sure. And
Maybe
what
you can see also e-platform banner. I coordinate a network and it's actually a platform. Our goal is to mobilize resources of people with the Bosnian background who live in Switzerland and to develop projects in Switzerland, but also in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And that's a program, like a global program for migration and development. We are working with 2 regions, and it's quite interesting. And I have experience with other platforms as well, with Open Collaborative Platform, with Collaboratio Helvetica platform, and maybe we will speak about networks and networking and network weaving. And that's my role in this festival. Actually, I'm a network weaver.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, and actually, maybe we also have to explain what tea talks are, and maybe I can elaborate that a little bit. I mean, in the end, the idea of Rethink Festival is really about this festival part. And so Nicola joined to help in many ways for the festival a couple of weeks ago. And we were talking about how to promote something like Rethink Festival. And I think it was you who came up with these warm-up events. And then when we talked about it, we said, okay, why we don't do live sessions and let's call it tea talks. And so this is the very first one, and I'm very happy. And actually, the topic of today is the question, what is Rethink Festival actually? And maybe I give you the question to you because, you know, for me, it's like an ongoing questions for a couple of months already. And so what is it for you, Nicola?
Yeah, it's really a good question, actually, Lucas. I'm asking myself since several weeks, what is Rethink Festival? And maybe it's funny to mention to our listeners or the people who are watching us that actually I met you a couple of years ago. Your company was developing our platform, but in the moment we split, and now we found each other again on an event, and then we spoke about work and working conditions and the future of the work. And you mentioned to me that you have this brilliant idea to try to launch a kind of a festival where we could rethink and speak about work especially. And for me, it was really interesting as I'm asking myself in general about my work, and 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 as I told you on this weekend, especially, I'm still rethinking. What are we doing? Like, what is the message that we want to send? What and yeah, of course, why and how are we gonna do it? So I'm really looking forward to these tea talks, and for me, Rethink Festival is above all getting inspiration, getting new kind of information, and rethink already positions and constructs that I have in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm really here to challenge myself and to learn something new. It's a learning opportunity above all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what about you? What do
Yeah.
you say when people ask you what is Rethink Festival?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we also have to mention the date of the festival itself, actually. So, Rethink Festival will take place on the 20th and 21st November in 2020. And it's actually a 2-day event where we put the new ways of working, like the topic, new ways of working at the core of the discussion. And so that's it. So basically on Friday, there will be a workshop where we invite people to join. And so we are a couple of facilitators. It's a half-day workshop. It's online. Actually, it was planned to have it physical in a location here in Lucerne. And we will discuss the broad topic, new ways of working. And on Saturday, there will be the festival itself. Actually, it's also digitally. So we will use a digital platform. There will be a lot of sessions. We have now about 20 sessions from topics like you will learn stuff about sociocracy. You will learn stuff about systemic change. You will also learn stuff about organizations who actually made their journey towards what I would call a teal organization. So it's related to self-organization, related to wholeness at work. So yeah, lots of sessions and lots of stuff to learn. But I would also say that, similar to what you said before, for me it's also some kind of learning experience. I mean, new work or future of work or new ways of working are kind of buzzwords floating around. And I think we can make these words, we can fill the words with meaning while we are exploring and discussing it. So Rethink Festival for me is really about that. It's about participation. It's about asking questions. It's about sharing experiences. And what's important for me, or while setting up also the sessions for Saturday, is really, I mean, there are a lot of, I call them social technologies out there. For example, a social technology for me is holocracy. So holocracy is a system, a way you can organize your company or whatever you do, your NGO. And so we have to learn them and then see if they make sense in your own organization. And then, yeah, really discuss these new ways of working together, actually. And so I have to say I'm very happy that I can announce, for example, Brian Robertson. So he will be a keynote speaker on Saturday. He will do a session about Holocracy Practice. So maybe to explain that, Brian Robertson is the inventor of the Holocracy system. And so he will talk about Holocracy Practice. And it's really about this shift of coming from a hierarchical power structure towards a self-organization run by holocracy in this sense, and actually practicing it, the technology, without any preset perspectives. It's really like shift your perspective for one moment, maybe you rethink what you do and how it could be in the future. And what's interesting, we also have another session. Sorry, I'm talking a
May I
lot, but
interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Maybe just to clarify to our participants, when I asked you why did you come up to this idea? Maybe also to explain a bit background of your company, and now when you are mentioning holocracy, maybe to combine it. And
Yes.
yeah.
So, well, I would say in my let's say career, whatever you want to say it, I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm also a liberal mind. And for me, it was always important to build stuff, but for the, let's say, greater good. That's my personal idea or mindset. And well, I'm also caring about the big challenges we face today. It's not only the corona. Maybe the corona is just an effect out of the challenge we have below. It's about climate change. It's about how we gonna run our society in a digitalized world. It's about, well, the CO2 issue and peak everything, I call it. I mean, we run out of oil, we run out of water, we run out of actually everything. So should we go on with that? And my clear answer is actually no. And I'm an entrepreneur myself, and we are an agency. So as an agency, we meet a lot of customers, different projects, smaller, bigger projects. And we have a very close relationship with them. And what I see often is that the organization of a company, whatever, is still stuck in an old structure. So in the day-to-day challenges with digitalization and you know, the increasing complexity, what's going on, and I would say the COVID example is exactly a proof. I mean, the people who had a strategy last autumn and thought, okay, now I have a 5-year plan, and and then in March there was the lockdown, so you could basically kill your strategy. So you have to adapt, and so it means you also have to adapt your company, organization, the way you see the world, basically. So this is my motivation behind it. And also, you mentioned my company and Holocracy. We are actually now in the process of, I mean, we were never actually a hierarchical company. We are a small company, but still the idea of true self-organization and a true power shift towards all the people working in the company. We are now in this process, so it's also a very interesting topic for us as a company.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but you were concerned more or less about general situation on the planet, how people are living, how are we working, and you were asking yourself, is it the only possible way? And then you started to look for solutions and for alternatives, and in that sense you came up to those concepts. And because you were concerned at the beginning, as you mentioned, of these limits of that we are crossing, and then you came up to those concepts like holocracy that you mentioned, and you started to speak about like what are we gonna have opportunity to discover later. And when we spoke, I wanted to ask you also, like festival is only like a tool or a vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I asked myself, so what I gonna do with this fact? And then I thought, okay, I mean, one thing is just like working in your own community here in Lucerne, for example. Just a small side note. I'm also part of a group who's building a new working space. So it's kind of a co-working space where we put all this idea into life here in central Switzerland, for example. And but then I also thought, okay, how can we make this a topic and bring it to the public? Because what I also see is that a lot of people who are already within this bubble, let's call it a bubble, or in this, like, whatever you call it, sociocracy bubble, or even transition town bubble, people who care about what's going on. We already have that, so people already know that, but there are the majority have no clue what this is all about. So then the idea really came up, why we won't call it festival, because then it's kind of an inviting thing. It's not like a conference, or it's not like it's more open, more inviting. So I thought this is an interesting format to use, a nice vehicle, as you said, to actually bring these topics to the public also.
Yeah, and I like that idea about the festival, because it's also something to cheer, to festivity, and as it's kind of a way where we could hypothetically transform society, just in the way, how do we work, how do we collaborate, how do we communicate among each other. And in that these methodologies and techniques are quite interesting as a concept.
Yeah, and maybe you can tell your story, basically, Nicola, because that's what you mentioned when we once sit together, about your history and also, the parallel with festival.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned to you that I came from a region where we had quite difficult political situation, and in one moment we were a bunch of young people who were trying to change the system, and we were kind of a grassroots movement in Novi Sad in Serbia, and we organized a lot of activities, cultural activities, above all, like theater plays, cinema events, and it was kind of a non-violent resistance, like civil disobedience, and that festival that we created at the end, and that it's called Exit Festival, became one of the biggest music festivals in Europe. And with a lot of creativity and energy, young people managed to self-organize themselves and to create different types of reality, and everyday life was much healthier, and in that sense community thrived. That is one thing that I mentioned to you. Second thing is that I'm an environmental engineer, so I was always interested in climate change, and I didn't travel a lot in my life. I'm used to work remotely and asynchronous, and I worked also in IT company, as I mentioned to you. We were trying to develop different types of tools that could support different ecosystems, like an ecosystem in a context of different local communities that could work translocally. So I was always trying to combine technology with society, and to learn out of it. Like, we were making prototypes. We failed many times as well, but that brought me actually to you, more or less, because we were asking ourselves as well, how can we really upscale and what we do in a way to provide better environments, either nature environment or social environment, technical environment. And I'm really happy to be here with you, and thank you for letting me into your team and your community. So I hope that we will manage to combine those kind of experiences and to share information and to try to figure it out what can grow out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I also want to actually say that, I mean, it's not about us, it's not about me or you, it's really about the community who comes together at Rethink Festival. I see myself as a host, so I don't know many things. So there are so many ideas out there, and I want to learn that. I want to gain new perspectives. And so the idea with Rethink Festival is, or my idea is, to invite everybody to join and also bring their perspectives in, and yeah, just share your experiences and your thoughts. And so it's really not about me or you know the team. It's about the community around. So yeah, I really want to invite everybody to join. Also, I mean, I want to mention that now we try to make the festival as accessible as possible. So it's even possible to join for free. So there is no ticket fee. Although if you see an opportunity that you can, so we use these donation tickets. So you could say, okay, I pay you 40 euros or 20 euros or whatever to support this idea. But yeah, really bring down all the borders and just come together. That's the idea. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to mention as well. It's about using this opportunity, and I see festival also as a kind of a platform where we can get to know each other and exchange and bring different aspects and questions. And that's what I'm doing since I joined to.
Yeah.
I'm questioning and yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you as a final maybe question for this first tea session. Like what exactly we will have opportunity to see, and what are we gonna do during these 2 days? You started already with an announcement of Holocracy and one of the key speakers. And
yeah. So,
but maybe something else.
Yeah. So as I mentioned. Sorry, as I mentioned before, on Friday it's this workshop, so you can join the workshop, and on Saturday there is the festival with many sessions. You can sign up to the platform, and I mean you can watch the session, you can interact in the sessions. We are still figuring out if we also going to do some open space sessions, which are then really in-person talks. Also, one core idea about the session is there is always space for extended question and answers. So when preparing the talks with the people or with the speakers, I said, look, please stop after 30 minutes, and then we add 10 or 15 minutes questions and answers, so that we really have a way to interact and learn from each other. Also, I mean, the tea talks, obviously, it's the first tea talk now. There will be many in the next couple of weeks until the festival will take place. And so it's also a way to join. And then we will see where we go with the whole thing, because I guess it won't be the first and only festival. I really hope that will be a second edition maybe next year. And since, I mean, we built some kind of community now, I see an opportunity to even keep the community going after the festival. And bring communities actually together. It's like, I see it as a community of communities. Mm-hmm. So that's maybe one point I also want to mention. I see a lot of communities. Let's take the community of Transition Town movement. Rob Hopkins, I also should mention, Rob Hopkins is the founder of the Transition Network. Actually, quite interesting person, and also some kind of celebrity in this field. And I'm very happy that he agreed for a keynote, and he will also talk about the transition movement, and especially how we can think about future and maybe imagine yet another, maybe hopefully better future. But what I wanted to say is that all these communities float around. There is this transition movement. Then there are the more company-like movements, like the Holocracy movement, for example, or there is a movement like the purpose-driven movement. Everybody wants to now talk about purpose. And then there is the movement of liberating structures, or there is the movement of, there are many movements out there. And I see that especially the people who focus on one specific part, they are, I wouldn't say very narrow looking, but they are focused on their field, which is okay. But then how do we bring all of them together? Because they have lots of overlap. So that's the idea with Rethink Festival, to bring these communities together. So we're building a community of communities. And it's not only in the organizational field, it's really about this transition movement, systemic change, new ways of working, and the social technologies. This is actually the idea to bring that together. So, also, if you are some of our listeners, if you see yourself a part of Rethink Festival, please contact me or contact us, and we can figure out how you could even contribute a session, or even contribute in a tea talk that we chat together, or even after that that we work together in some kind.
There are many things that I would like to say now or to ask you, but I think that for this first tea talk session, we said already a lot of information. You have opportunity to discover more on our website. And I wanted to ask you, Lucas, is there something else worth of mentioning for this first conversation? Or we announce the second tea talk, maybe.
Now, for the moment, I think I said a lot already. You also mentioned the website. There is a lot of information on the website itself. You can also subscribe our social media channels, so you will also learn about the upcoming tea talks and information we share on social media. And you can actually sign up today. And what I would like to do is also share the idea, because it's a new festival. We need people, we try to make it as great as possible, and we need everybody to make it even better.
Thank you very much for your time, for listening our tea talk, and all the best. I wish you from Bern, and looking forward to see you in Luzern.
Thank you very much. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.